Still looking back at that win at Kentucky, but how good was that win for some specific players? Joe Milton, the spray chart. How was he under pressure? How was he throwing the football down the field? All that and more, the stats that matter. It's your Pro Football Focus Wednesday here on Locked On Vols.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Vols. It is your team every single day, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Eric Kane, @_Kaner on Twitter, @Locked On Vols. Appreciate you everydayers for being here and taking part of the show by subscribing to the YouTube channel and downloading and subscribing wherever you get your podcast. We are there. You can't escape us. The race to 10K is on. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers on the VolQuest YouTube channel by the end of football season, about 600 away, so I need your help. Please go ahead and do that for us and continue to support the show, get the show in front of more and more Tennessee fans. On today's show, Pro Football Focus offense in segment 1, defense in segment 2, looking back at the Kentucky win, and looking ahead to Josh Ward in segment number 3. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We'll start on the offensive side of the football. Again, this is Tennessee against Kentucky. And for those of you watching, you can see the grading scale across the bottom. But for those listening, the grading scale for Pro Football Focus, a little bit different. Elite is 90 to 99. Very good, 80 to 89. Above average starter is 70 to 79. Average starter is 60 to 69. Below average starter is 50 to 59, and less than 50 is considered a backup level player. Again, like I say every single week, it's something, it's not everything. Don't, run. This is not the gospel. Okay, Pro Football Focus has a lot of good things, a lot of different areas that I use as baseline for starts of my research or for my conversation. Those guys don't know the responsibilities. Those guys don't know the Tennessee playbook. Those guys don't know the Tennessee assignments on every single play. So I'm not going to take what they grade a player to heart, but it is a baseline. So the overall grade, not a whole lot of stock in there. I'll highlight a few, but the highest overall grade on Tennessee's offense from that 33-27 win at Kentucky was Jaylen Wright. He had a grade of 80.7. The second highest grade was Joe Milton at 76.3. The third highest grade was Chaz Nimrod, 73.8, and then Dante Thornton had 71.4. Those were the only grades at 70 or higher. Again, so above average starter or, the very good category, which is where Jaylen Wright kind of came in. Everybody else was lower than 70. The offensive grades were not the highest in this football game. But overall, let's start with some snap counts. Joe Milton, of course, played every single offensive snap of 69, as did Gerald Mincey, which was huge at right tackle because, of course, we know he's dealing with an injury and he's not finished the previous 2 games prior to that, but was able to go the whole way at Kentucky, and that was really, really good. Ramel Keaton, a wide receiver, played all 69 snaps. Squirrel White played 66 snaps in the slot. Let's see here. Javonte Spraggins played all 69 snaps. Cooper Mays played all 69 snaps. Ollie Lane played 64 snaps. You had Andre Carrott that came in, played 5 snaps of 1 drive. I think it was the second drive of the game, and then he went out with an injury. But Ollie Lane played 64 snaps. Let's see, Dante Thornton played 43 snaps, which is really, really good to see. Chaz Nimrod caught a touchdown pass on 17 snaps that he played in this football game. Jabari Small, 17 snaps. Jaylen Wright, 20 snaps. Dylan Sampson had, 32 snaps, and a lot of that was in the fourth quarter. So the tight ends, McAllen Castles, 25 snaps. Jacob Warren, 44 snaps. More Jacob Warren in this football game than McAllen Castles. I found that interesting. This was the biggest snap differential between the two than all season long. Hunter Solomon got in there for a blocking formation, played 3 plays, and that was good to see. That does not mean that he's ahead of Ethan Davis. We got to ask that question on the Monday night chat. It's just when Tennessee gets in the red zone, at least in years past, they have put multiple tight ends out on the field, and Hunter Solomon is a guy that knows that formation. In fact, I think at Kentucky in 2021, Solomon played, and I think in 2023, this past Saturday, he played at Kentucky as well. So I found that kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and go and check out Joe Milton, shall we? Let's look at the passing chart. Joe Milton, really good down the field in this football game. He was 1 for 3 in this football game for 39 yards and a touchdown. That was 20 yards plus, 20 yards or more. Didn't take an awful lot of shots, but when he did, he connected on one of them, and it was for a touchdown. The other two that he missed were not bad misses, both to one was Darrell Keaton down the sideline on a bomb, one was a squirrel wide in the end zone. Those were not bad misses at all. You take those every single day if you're a head football coach. So Joe Milton, 1 for 3 with a 39-yard touchdown on passes 20 yards or more down the field. Passes 10 to 19 yards. The intermediate game, Joe Milton was a perfect 4 for 4 for 101 yards. That's good because Joe Milton, again, has not been very good in the intermediates. He was a perfect 4 for 4 for over 100 yards. Good to see. One of those strikes was to Dante Thornton on the 49-yard strike that led to a scoring drive, and he was rolling to his left, threw across his body right down the middle of the field, and that's where a big chunk of those 101 yards come from. So, good for Joe Milton. Again, he was really good in this football game. 0 to 9 yards. Within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, Joe Milton was 6 for 7. He was 6 for 7 for 53 yards in this football game. That was good. And then behind the line of scrimmage, he was a perfect 6 for 6 for 37 yards. Again, we know Joe Milton only missed 3 passes in this football game. He was really, really good. Let's see. He was kept clean on 82.6% of dropbacks. He was under pressure, only 17.4% of dropbacks. He was not blitzed. Kentucky did not blitz him on 82.6% of dropbacks. And when he was blitzed, he was blitzed 17.4% of dropbacks. On play action, Joe Milton was 47.8%. No play action, he was 52.2%. Actually, no, this is not him throwing. This is the percentage of plays ran. So sorry. Tennessee ran play action 47.8%. Excuse me. No play action 52.2%. Screen passes 26.1%, and no screen passes 73.9%. Joe Milton was really, really good in this football game. It's because a lot of that has to do with the big boys up front. Andre Carrick, who only played 5 snaps overall, had 2 reps at pass blocking, had the highest pass blocking grade. I don't necessarily take that into account because, again, he only played 5 snaps on the football game, but he was at 74.1. Jabari Small, 6 pass blocking reps, 74.1 was his grade. Really good. Again, Jabari Small continues over the years to be a better and better pass protector, as was Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson, now that I mentioned him, he had the lowest pass blocking grade according to Pro Football Focus, but Josh Heupel even mentioned on Monday's press conference that Dylan Sampson protected well, and so that's a little conflicting here. 13 reps, his pass blocking grade is actually 10% according to Pro Football Focus, but Josh Heupel was bragging about it on Monday, so again, I kind of take it or leave it. Gerald Mincey, 24 pass blocking reps, 72.9%. John Campbell, 20 pass blocking reps, 71.1%. These are all above average. Jaylen Wright, 5 pass blocking reps, 70%. Javonte Spraggins, 24 pass blocking reps, 68%. These are really, really good grades. The only bad grades that you could construe as bad grades, Jeremiah Crawford, he had 4 pass blocking reps, 56.8. That's not the best. And Cooper Mays, 24 pass blocking reps, 52.8%. That's not great. Cooper's a lot better than that. Here's one really bad grade. Ollie Lane, 22 pass blocking reps, and according to Pro Football Focus, his pass blocking grade was 28.7%. That is very, very low, and I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that, to be completely honest. In terms of giving up sacks, Jeremiah Crawford gave up a sack. And see, this is one example. Again, I like Pro Football Focus, but it's not perfect. It misses some things. Tennessee's offensive line gave up 2 sacks in the football game. Pro Football Focus only has Kentucky getting 1 sack. So again, that's an example of how that's wrong, and it was Gerald Mincey giving up that sack. Let's quickly go to run blocking before we shift gears over towards defense. Tennessee, again, ran for 253 yards against a Kentucky defense that was averaging only giving up 95 yards on the ground coming into the football game. Cooper Mays, the best run blocker, 45 run blocking reps, 63.6%. Gerald Mincey, 45 reps, 61.5. Javonte Spraggins, 45 reps, 57.5. John Campbell, 35 reps, 52.4. Jeremiah Crawford, 10 run blocking reps, 51.0. Ollie Lane, 42 reps, 41.2. Pro Football Focus is not like All Lane, that's for sure. And these run blocking reps are not really that great. But at the end of the day, Tennessee rushed for 253 yards. So, again, take it with a grain of salt. Something that is encouraging, Dante Thornton had the highest, second highest run blocking grade, 27 reps, 62.4%. And Josh Heupel, again, yesterday, we can hear it right now. Josh Heupel, very pleased with Dante Thornton, and even mentioned what he was doing without the football in his hands was impressive.
Dante had a really nice performance. I thought he did a really good job with the ball not in his hands, and when the ball came his way, he made plays. He was comfortable and performed extremely well.
And if you're going to run for 250-plus yards, your tight ends have got to be a critical part of that scheme. Jacob Warren, 61.5% run blocking grade on 28 reps. McCallan Castles didn't have a good run blocking grade according to Pro Football Focus. However, on Dylan Sampson's 12-yard touchdown run, he absolutely drove a linebacker into the turf. It was beautiful. If you like college football, it was something beautiful to behold. We'll take a look at the defense, the stats that matter, coverage grade, pass blocking grade, snap counts, all that and more. That is coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Do want to tell you about our friends FanDuel Sportsbook. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel. It's America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's right, $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on all that action than right now. You can take part in spreads, player props. I speak on those all the time. How if you're new and you want something fun and exciting, something easy, player props, take part in just an individual player. The over-under 3.5 receptions in the first half, and so on and so forth. You get the totals and a whole lot more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to kick off the NFL season today. Again, that is FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Welcome back into your Wednesday edition of Locked On Vols. I am your host, Eric Kane. It is Pro Football Focus Wednesday, where we take a look at the stats that matter. We did offense in segment 1. Take a look back at the Pro Football Focus grades for Tennessee's defense against Kentucky happening right now. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, the grades are at the bottom of the screen, but if you're listening, allow me to explain the grading scale. Elite is 90 to 99, very good, 80 to 89. Above average starter is 70 to 79. Average starter is 60 to 69. Below average starter, 50 to 59. And less than 50 is considered a backup level player. Again, as I say in every segment we do Pro Football Focus, as I said last segment, I'm going to say it again. This is something. It is not everything. Pro Football Focus is not perfect. They don't have the playbook. They don't know the assignments. It's just a baseline. And so we take a look at the things that actually matter in terms of snap counts and coverage grades and stuff like that. Let's look at snap count. Well, real quick, let's cherry pick some overall grades. Again, overall grades, and I'll put a whole lot of stock into them, but Omari Thomas led Tennessee's defense with a 72.2%, which is considered above average starter. That was the only grade above 70 in this football game. And again, I understand Tennessee defense didn't have the best day, but even Tennessee's offense had a pretty solid day, and there weren't very many high grades. So just kind of another example. Gabe Jeudy-Lally, 69.1%. Omar Norman-Lott, 68.7%. Jaylen McCullough, 68.4%. Tyree West on 4 snaps, 67.1%. Those were your 5 highest grades in the football game. Let's look at snap counts. Omari Thomas, 31 snaps. Gabe Jeudy-Lally, 56 snaps. Omar Norman-Lott, 33 snaps. Jaylen McCullough, 66 snaps. Caleb Perry, 9 snaps. Again, he's in there on third down packages. Bryson Eason, 27 snaps. Warren Burrell didn't play cornerback for a couple of weeks. He had 19 snaps in this football game. Of course, Ricky Gibson came in, played a little bit, had 2 snaps. He went out with injury. Karot Garland on the defensive front played 14 snaps. Aaron Beasley, 57 snaps at linebacker. Jeremiah Thielander, 2 snaps at linebacker. Wesley Walker, 65 snaps at safety. Of course, McCullum and Walker played 64 and 65 snaps, respectively. Tyler Barron, 39 snaps. He continues to play a lot of football this year, which is, again, really, really good to see. Tamari McDonald, 66 snaps at the star position. Let's see. James Pierce, 43 snaps at Leo. Danico Slaughter, 45 snaps at cornerback. Joshua Josephs, 12 snaps at Leo. I would love to see him get up to 20 and Roman Harrison get down to about 12. Roman Harrison was at 22 snaps at Leo. Elijah Herring, 57 snaps at linebacker. And Brandon Turnage had 10 snaps at cornerback. Let's look at missed tackles first and foremost. Tennessee missed, let's see here, 13 tackles in this football game. A missed tackle from Gabe Jeudy-Lally, a missed tackle from Jaylen McCullough, a missed tackle from Wesley Walker, 2 missed tackles from Aaron Beasley, a missed tackle from Tamarian McDonald, 2 missed tackles from James Pierce, 2 missed tackles from Joshua Josephs. That's not a good stat. 2 missed tackles on 12 snaps. That's not good from Joshua Josephs. 1 missed tackle from Elijah Herring. Let's look at the pass rush grades, if we will. Tennessee did not have a great day getting after the quarterback. There were a lot of three-step drops. There was some play action to get rid of the ball quickly. I recognize that. But at the end of the day, Tennessee still did not make a habit of living on the other side of the line of scrimmage or making things difficult for Devin Leary, forcing him into bad decisions. Tennessee didn't get a whole lot of pressure. Therefore, the hurries, the hits, the sack numbers obviously are not there. Tennessee only had 1 sack. It was Omar Norman-Lott. He and Tyler Barron kind of met in the backfield. Omar Norman-Lott cleaned it up, but Tyler Barron was a big part of that play. But in terms of quarterback hits, Omar Norman-Lott had 2. James Pierce had 1. 3 total quarterback hits. Hurries. Pierce had 1. Easton had 1. McDonald had 1. Josephs had 1. Tyler Barron had 1. So Tennessee had 5 quarterback hurries in this football game. The official stat sheet will tell you that Tennessee had like 2 hurries. But still, that's not a lot, especially to where you were as a defensive unit coming into the game. Tennessee's best pass rushing grade went to Omar Norman-Lott at 65.4. He had 23 reps in that regard. Roman Harrison actually had 18 reps at pass rush, and he had a grade of 62.2. Aaron Beasley, 37 reps, 61.5, so on and so forth. Let's see here. Let's go to coverage. This is what we really kind of benefit from when we look at the defensive stats. The secondary, which did not have a good game whatsoever. How many times a defensive back was targeted, how many receptions a defensive back gave up for yards, so on and so forth. Gabe Jeudy-Lally was targeted 4 times, gave up 2 receptions for 27 yards in this football game. Warren Burrell targeted twice, gave up 2 receptions. See, that's false. That's false. There was on that 3rd down where Tennessee made a stop in the 4th quarter. The guy threw it to where the guy that Warren Burrell was guarding, and it was incomplete. So again, this is a great example of how it's something, not everything. Warren Burrell targeted twice, gave up 2 receptions according to Pro Football Focus for 18 yards. Jaylen McCullough targeted 3 times, gave up 1 reception for 5 yards. Wesley Walker targeted 5 times, gave up 4 receptions for 64 yards. Aaron Beasley, again playing in the middle of the field, targeted 5 times, gave up 4 reception for 42 yards. Danico Slaughter at cornerback targeted 4 times, gave up 4 receptions for 99 yards. Not great. Tamarian McDonald targeted 7 times, gave up 5 receptions for 61 yards. Elijah Herring targeted 3 times, gave up 2 receptions for 5 yards. Arian Carter targeted once, gave up 1 reception for 13 yards. Roman Harrison, who is not good in coverage, guys. He's not Byron Young, going out to the flat, going out to a hook curl from the Leo position. Roman Harrison targeted 3 times, gave up 3 receptions for 38 yards. 1 was a critical 3rd down in that first half. I remember that. Defensive backs who gave up, or defenders who gave up touchdowns. Aaron Beasley gave up a touchdown. That was that Dane Key one in the red zone. Tamarian McDonald gave up a touchdown. That was the Barryon Brown on just a gorgeous throw from Devin Leary to the front pocket of that end zone. You couldn't have placed that ball in there better than that throw from Devin Leary. So again, not all-American level grades here in terms of coverage for Tennessee's defenders. But it is what it is. And, some games you're not going to be at your best. You need your offense to pick you up. Some games it's opposite, where like Texas A&M, Tennessee needed its defense to go out there and do some things in special teams, and it did just that. But overall, the most important thing, doesn't matter how ugly it is, you just get a win. Tennessee got a win. 33-27. Tennessee is 6-2, coming home for homecoming. Tennessee will be 7-2, and then it'll go on the road and take on Missouri for a huge, huge road matchup before coming back home to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. That's a look at the stats that matter from Pro Football Focus. We'll check in with Josh Ward. He's coming up next right here on Locked On Vols. Do want to tell you about our friends over at eBay Motors. Proud sponsor of the show, eBay Motors, let's ride. Passion, drive, patience. What brings home a winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and leveled up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that W. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. As we do every single Wednesday, we finish off this show by talking to our friend Josh Ward for Ward Wednesday. Josh Ward, he's co-host of Josh and Swain on 99.1 The Sports Animal, noon to 3 weekdays. Josh, how you doing this morning?
Good, Eric. Great to be with you.
Yeah, it's a good win for Tennessee. I mean, it wasn't the prettiest, but it was a win on the road at Kentucky. A game that you always led throughout, a game where Joe Milton looked pretty good, and a game where you got your run game back to where it should be.
Yeah, the standings don't add in style points or pretty points. You get credit for a win, you get knocked for a loss. Tennessee got a road win. Tennessee beat a team that is a quality opponent. Kentucky's not a great team. Nobody thought that going in, but it does have quality players. It had an offense that broke out in the passing game, which we knew could happen based on the personnel, and that does create some questions moving forward for sure. But if you knew that going in, that Tennessee's defense might have some issues slowing down the passing game of Devin Leary, well, then the response would be, okay, what's Tennessee's offense going to do? And it did what it needed to, running the football from beginning until the end when it needed to run the clock out. It did that. Joe Milton was a part of that. Different running backs played a role there. And the passing game for Tennessee was better, was more efficient. Perfect? No. Last year's passing attack? No, but nobody should have that expectation. Tennessee's 6-2 and should feel really good about how things have gone overall this season.
Josh, what is it about the Tennessee defense that, a quarterback, if it's ever going to, reach its potential, just put the Tennessee defense out there. If a quarterback's ever going to get drafted, put the Tennessee defense out there to get some game tape. I mean, you had Spencer Rattler last year. You have Devin Leary this year. Both of those guys had done things in college previously to be considered good quarterbacks, but both of those guys kind of lost their ways, and they kind of found their way against this Tennessee defense.
Well, I heard that Devin Leary knows somebody that used to work as a GA at Michigan. So I don't know if there's anything to that. I'm totally kidding. I said last week, fans will automatically think, oh boy, here comes Devin Leary's game. And it did happen. They've seen it. A lot of fans have seen it. And it's a reminder that every game to the next, one game to the next, things can be different. Against Texas A&M and against Kentucky, Tennessee's offense ran the ball as much as it wanted to, all over the place. Against Alabama, didn't have quite as much success. The pass rush has been really good overall. I think Kentucky did a really good job in its 2 weeks of preparation getting ready for Tennessee's top pass rushers. I know about the missed holding calls. I've seen the screenshots. Devin Leary didn't throw for 370 yards because of missed holding calls. Did it help Kentucky when they missed calls? Sure. Calls are missed all over the place. I thought they did a good job of preparation when James Pierce would make a move inside. Kentucky was prepared for that. The staff did a good job of getting the offensive line ready for the game, and Leary delivered some passes that he missed on at different times earlier in the season. The receiver stepped up and made plays that they didn't make at different times earlier in the season. And Tennessee was missing Kamal Hadden. So there were probably a number of reasons why it went the way that it did. But Tennessee's run defense was really good, and Tennessee got stops in the red zone when it needed to, especially late when Kentucky was trying to make it a field goal game. Tennessee got another stop. So the Vols defense still did enough, and the offense did more than enough to win the game.
Yeah, and really, I mean, when you sit back and think about it, it feels like so much worse because it just feels like Leary was throwing, getting whatever he wanted to through the air. I mean, Tennessee only gave up 27 points. In today's football, that's honestly not even a lot of points if we're being
Yeah.
completely honest about things. Joe Milton was really good. I didn't think that they asked him to do an awful lot in the first half. Started to take some shots as the game went on. But he was with what he was asked to do, he was really good. And I thought he was his best this season throwing outside the pocket, throwing off platform, directing traffic. They continue to use him in the run game with some design quarterback run. He's looked really good, and I thought that he was, really, really good on Saturday night. And again, just like at Alabama, you get that Joe Milton, you're going to win football games.
Yeah, his ability to run the football is important for this offense. It's important for Joe. I think it makes him a better passer. I think he's more comfortable. The offense can create some kind of rhythm when he is a part of the running game because it creates the positive yardage. We've talked about this, and I still have messages that say, "Well, Joe missed an open receiver. He missed a guy that could have been a big play." Okay, he's going to. Most quarterbacks are going to, by the way. Not every quarterback is going to hit every single open receiver and catch them every time. He was
In
18 of
fact,
20.
real quick, sorry to cut you off,
Yeah,
but
sure.
that text message or whatever you're talking about, that's inaccurate. He did not miss one open receiver. He took two deep shots down the field. Both were deep shots, 50-50 balls at best. Both could have been pass interference. Both, were good balls. They just missed. And then the one to Squirrel White, he barely got rid of. I mean, the fact that he got rid of that ball with all the pressure in his face was pretty much incredible, but I wouldn't consider him wide open. So, in my opinion,
and the message I had was like missed seeing the receiver.
oh, okay,
But
gotcha.
yeah, but I mean that happens. He was 18 of 21. He
Yeah.
took care of the football. He picked up positive yardage. He running the football, including that final first down that they needed on the drive to seal the game. He did what Tennessee needed to do. So at this point, if anybody's holding on to a comparison to Hendon Hooker a year ago, you're wasting your time there. Joe played winning football for Tennessee on the road in a night game in the SEC, and that's as much as I think we should be asking for Joe Milton. He obviously has the potential to hit a bunch of passes down the field, and maybe that does occur before the season ends, and he has this massive 300-plus yard passing game, but that's not the expectation going in. The expectation is that Tennessee needs to be a really good running football team. And Joe being a part of that maximizes the potential of what Tennessee is able to do. Tennessee's 6-2 with Joe Milton as the starting quarterback. And we were still getting some, hey, what about Nico this week on Josh and Swain last week? And our response was, well, obviously it's not going to happen. So what's the point of the conversation? But if Nico's the quarterback this past week, I don't think Tennessee beats Kentucky. So it has to be put to rest at this point. Joe's the guy to close out the season. Tennessee has a chance to have a really strong finish with Joe Milton at quarterback, and he can help in that.
Well, you look ahead to this week, and it's homecoming. It's UConn. It's a team Tennessee should beat by 40. We've seen this before with Austin P and UTSA. Tennessee didn't handle business, and Nico didn't get an opportunity to go in there and get extended playing time. And not just Nico, some of these other guys as well. What's important for Tennessee in a week like this week? Obviously, secure the win, but what do you need to see from Tennessee before it gears up to go back on the road for a big game in Como?
Yeah, don't revert back to the issues we saw earlier in the season on the offensive side. That Austin P game was frustrating and ugly for everybody to watch. So at home with a huge advantage, don't make mistakes dropping the football at the receiver position or whatever skill position we're talking about. Joe Milton needs to hit open receivers, needs to be involved in the running game, get going, and they should be able to run all over and do what they do offensively, and that should lead to points. One thing that does need to still improve is red zone scoring, right? It was important that Charles Campbell was able to hit all of those field goals, but Tennessee needs to be better in the red zone probably at Missouri and against Georgia for sure a couple weeks later. So can Tennessee be better in the red zone, score touchdowns to get up big early so that Nico and some young offensive linemen can play? Because it was just a missed opportunity for Nico to not play against Austin P. I would have lost a lot of money if somebody wagered that he was not going to play in that game because he didn't get an opportunity to go in. So that's it to me, is do everything that you're supposed to, that you've been good at this season, and avoid some of the mistakes that were costly on offense earlier in the season.
You going to be on homecoming court this weekend, going down to the field? They're going to honor you as they welcome back alumni of all years?
Just like high school and some ages of college as well, I'll be on the outside looking in, longing for those opportunities.
Josh, what do you and Jason Swain have coming up on the show this week?
Yeah, big month coming up. November football is here. They remember what you do in November, and this season will be remembered based on how the SEC portion of the schedule plays out. I think there are 2 guaranteed wins here, all but guaranteed, right? UConn and Vanderbilt. So what happens against Missouri and Georgia? We're looking ahead to the final month, reacting to this past week. So a lot of football talk, plus starting to dive into basketball. A lot of basketball excitement, Eric, coming out of how things have gone the last few days.
He is Josh Ward, co-host of Josh and Swain on 99.1 The Sports Animal. You can listen to them there. You can read the free Josh and Swain newsletter every Friday morning at about 8:30. The free download or the free sign up for that newsletter is in the show description as well. Josh, appreciate it, man.
You got it. Thank you, Eric.
All right, and that's going to do it here for this edition of Locked On Vols. Every single Wednesday, PFF, offensive notes, defensive notes, notes that matter, and of course, a conversation with Josh Ward. I appreciate you guys for being here. We're coming up on tomorrow's show. We'll continue to look ahead to UConn. We'll discuss what Tennessee needs to get out of this football game, and a little hoops talk. Maybe recapping some basketball exhibitions as we inch on closer to the start of the regular season. All that and more right here on Locked On Vols. Appreciate you guys, you everydayers, and we'll see you again tomorrow.